Praise the Lord and greetings to all of you in Jesus' name. I'm hoping that English is okay to manage. I'm not too sure any other language is possible because I think we have friends joining in from different parts of the world. I must thank you for taking this as a serious, a serious event, I would say, in your life and scheduling this. So I have a good news and a bad news. The good news is that I'm not going to preach, but the bad news is that we have to be very interactive. So, some of you may not be well dressed for the occasion, so I can give that as a benefit of doubt. But then, as far as possible, if we can come on the camera and if you're using I would suggest to use a laptop is possible. I know you will be using your mobile, but today is okay. But I think when we do our next program, maybe I can invite you, encourage you to log in from your laptop. Because today the session is not going to be preaching, there's going to be a lot of interaction. But let me ask you this question. How many of you received an email from us from soreicpf@gmail.com? Can I see some show of hands? Just to be sure that you registered and you got all the information. So no hands, meaning no hands at all. You don't have hands, or is there a first response? Okay, nobody is responding. So anyway, but you see, in order to take benefit from the session, we need to do a little thing. So we have created we have created a learning portal, and you need to register to that portal because that has all the learning materials in it. All the questions, PowerPoints, good, useful videos, and all that. So if you can click on this link that I have put on the Zoom chat, I have put a link on the Zoom chat. Let me put it again for others who joined us now. If you can click on that link, it will bring you to a page called Connect. You need to register. Say I had given instructions in the email, but I'm not too sure if everybody received it. But friends, this is important because if you do that, you will be able to access something like this. You are able to see my screen, and we have created a lot of valuable content that you can use for your future referral and also to be effective in the learning. Okay, so I just want to invite you to click on that link I sent and then register so that you can get access to that. And without access to this, you will not enjoy the session. You will not, there will not be a good benefit. Now I can preach, we are on the online, there are a lot of barriers, but I'm not going to preach, we are going to learn together, so in order to achieve that, we must be interactive. Yeah, so we must be able to access this and, work on. So that I think, may I request you to do that. And second thing I want to ask is, since the idea is to do this program one Saturday, I think the second Saturday of every month, that is what the leadership at ICPF Doha have decided to do. So we have extended this to others also. So it will be the second Saturday of every month, at least 4 sessions we will do together. And in order to be in touch and interact and communicate with each other, we wanted to create a WhatsApp group. Okay, I know there is no compulsion that you need to join the WhatsApp group, but if you can join the WhatsApp group, it will help us in communicating with each other. I will be able to send you some of the materials, maybe some questions you can ask, because most of you may not be accessing the email. So in order to achieve that, we have created a WhatsApp group. I'm going to send the link to the WhatsApp group again on the Zoom chat. Link to the WhatsApp group. and we will strictly avoid forwarding unnecessary forwards. Okay, maybe necessary forwards for you, but we will not unnecessarily send forwards. But we'll keep this WhatsApp group, and probably after some time we can discontinue it after the program is over. But let's use this WhatsApp page, WhatsApp place for us to interact with each other. Is it okay? Can I see a thumbs up or a thumbs down? I don't know if the Zoom has a thumbs down, but thumbs up is there, I think. Can I see a thumbs up at least? Okay, thank you, Jijomon. 1+. Please rename yourself. Thank you, Christina. Thank you. Cletus, good to see you, Cletus. Almost. You can come on camera. All right. Thank you, brother Vino and brother John and Renju, brother Renju. Thank you. Appreciate that. So you can join the group, and also you can join this portal, and we will make it interactive. Because a lot of material on this we are going to use, so I want you to use it. All right, so let's start today about brothers and sisters. I think brothers and sisters are here. We are going to do something on raising kingdom kids. I think we kind of established the fact that we have a generation that is growing up among us, which probably know the God whom we are serving, or probably not. They are in the church, they are in the activities, but the larger question that we need to know or understand or clarify is, have we been able to introduce the God whom we serve to our generation? Now, a survey says a lot of young people, once they go to college, they leave their faith and they go their way. And people think that when they went to the college, they decided like that. Actually, it is not true. They decided that when they were at home. And when they got an opportunity to go out of the home, they implemented what they had decided. Are you with me? They already decided to leave while attending our Sunday schools, while attending the ICPF camps, while attending the prayer groups, while at home. They already decided to leave this faith. And given the opportunity of coming to Bangalore or US or Australia, New Zealand, Ireland, UK, you name it, they got an opportunity to work on what they have decided. So if we are thinking that only because they went to UK, they have gone astray, actually, we are mistaken. Our children, under our nose, as they say, are already making up those decisions in their life. So it is very important, very, very important that we know our children, and our children, they trust us, and we will be able to present God, the true God, in the true sense to our children by not preaching, by not prescribing, but talking to them when we walk, when we sit down, when we lie down, when we are at the home. That's what Deuteronomy 6:6. In a very interesting and an intentional manner, we have to do that. Okay? With that framework, I want to show you something, from the Connect. This is again on the Connect page. Those of you who have registered, you will be able to see it, but I want to show you here. I hope you are able to see my screen. Yes, thumbs up. Perfect. All right. I have an article from one of the famous Christian researching group. It's called The Connected Generation. I have given the link to that article here. It is a must-read article. If you are a Sunday school teacher, if you are a parent of a teen, if you are a pastor, if you are a youth minister, If you have a burden for the children, you must read this article. And I just want to introduce you 4 things from that article, give you a little appetite so that you can go back and read it. The first point the article says is that we are in a connected generation because of social media and all other possibilities, but though they are connected, our children are alone. They have tons of friends on the internet and the social media, but they are lonely. Isn't it the case with us as well? I have some 4,000 odd friends on my Facebook, but I must admit, I hardly interact with any of them. Some of them we say hi and bye, but then we are not thick friends. We are connected, but we are really not connected. So though our children are spending a lot of time on social media in the attempt to connect and learn and do things, remember one thing, they are lonely, connected but lonely. And the second one is the research says our children who have learned the Christian doctrines and principles, where we tell that the Christian God is the real God, is a living God. Our children have a thought process which is making them open to spiritual lives, spiritual beings. They are open to yoga. They are open to tarot cards. I don't know. Do you know what is a tarot card? Bhavishyavani, the advanced version of the parrot picking up the card. Now the parrot is not picking, human being is picking. That's called tarot cards. Numerology. Our children, more than you and I, are open to experiment new spiritual offerings that are there in the world. Now, this is the fact. When you and I were kids, maybe young people, we were a bit hesitant. But today's generation, they are quite open and they want to experiment. And I have a lot of data, even in Bangalore, we know. I have seen people, young people who are in the church. When I see them, they all wear the Rudraksha malas and walk around. Some of them have a chain around their neck with a star, with a cross, with a, some of them are wearing some kind of precious stones. Young people, I'm talking about young people. Some of them have tattoos. So they are experimenting. Spiritual openness is there. Thirdly and quickly, this age is an age of anxiety. ICPF Bangalore has initiated a department called Mitra, MITR, Mitra. Mitra means friend. It's a counseling department. Ever since we launched it, we are getting calls after calls from universities and colleges to come and take sessions on anxiety, suicide, depression, and so on and so forth. The principals are asking us, please come. In one college, they said they have 3,000 students. They said, can you take sessions over the next 6 to 7 months and address our 3,000 students in the college? Anxiety, depression, and suicide is prevalent. Do you know that among the children, the horror movies are famous? How many of you are aware of that? They discuss horror movies when they are in school. And they encourage each other to go and watch a horror movie. Is there anybody who is aware of this? Show our hands. So you see the kind of movies and the impact that is on the children. I mean, it's crazy. And finally, In spite of all that, they have a special heart for the suffering people. They are conscious about the environment. They want to do something for the environment. They are unhappy because of the suffering that is in the world. They are unhappy because of the war that is in the world. Now, we must be very careful in our home, in our church, in our camps, on how we talk about suffering people, how we talk about taking care of environment, war, and things, because they have a special, and in a special connection with these things. They take it very, very seriously. Though they may not talk, but it will impact, it is impacting them on how, as a church and as a family. I spoke to a young person who is in 8th standard, and he told me, my parents, they talk about big things, but they mistreat our maid. These are factual input I'm giving you, right? So it's a new generation. And there are things which are dear to them. There are things which they hold very seriously close to their heart. They think differently. They behave differently. So we have a task to do. The reason why I showed you this, and I want you to go through that article. That article is a bit more elaborate. The link is there. If you click on this, you will get the details. Go through it, read it, share this with your Sunday school teacher, because this will give you the ground report about the audience whom you are teaching in the Sunday school. Without knowing the audience, without knowing whom we are teaching, without knowing where they are, how can our teaching be effective? I hope you are with me on this, right? So in order, we need to know them. And this is one way to know them. All right. So with that, we are going to do, I have charted out the 6 lessons that we will do in the next 6 months, I think. Yeah, once in a month. And if the coming of the Lord tarries, we will do it for the next 6 months, 6 occasions. But this is how it is going to look like. But we are going to do today, starting from identity. Now, we have a big crowd today, so I will not have an opportunity to, to ask you to introduce everybody. I mean, that's not possible. But usually, when we ask anybody to introduce themselves, what is the usual way of introducing ourselves? Anybody? Let me see if anybody can talk. When somebody asks you to introduce, what will be your statements when you introduce yourself? Quickly, maybe 1 or 2 can give a quick demo. Who wants to go? Anything on the chat? Okay, not it.
Like your name will be
Yes, yes, brother Ranju. Name?
Name like and where are you from?
Name, work?
Yeah, work.
Okay, name and work. Okay.
Spiritual meeting like this, you'll say that, okay, what is your spiritual status? I'm a believer.
Your voice is not very clear to me, brother Ranju. I mean, are you using a headphone? Can you bring it a bit closer to your mouth?
Okay. You'll be starting with your name, saying that, okay, my name is this so and so, and I'm working here. I'm from this place. And if it's a spiritual meeting like this, we'll obviously say that, okay, your spiritual status, you'll say that, okay, fine, I'm a believer, all these things.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, brother Ranju. Name, work, spiritual setting, I say I am a believer. Okay. Linda says usually place of origin and job. Bethany says profession and hobby. Nobody said about family. How come? I mean, usually I say I'm married, my wife, I have 2 children. Do you say anybody that? No, 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 no worries. I mean, I'm just picking your brains. But that's true. That's true. See, over the several years, we have curated our introduction by giving our name, our job, the place that we belong to. Some of us may even quote that I'm from this college. Some of us among the Malayali crowd, we can quote the family background. I'm from this family. All this is possible. There is nothing right or wrong about it. And we think that our identity is all these things. Actually, it is wrong. That is not our identity. People know our identity by knowing what we do with our life, how do we behave with others, how do I handle money, the kind of words I speak, and the kind of statements I make. I may be a doctor, I may be a lawyer, I may be this and that, I may be from this place and that place, and we think that's my identity, but we are mistaken. People know, you can take your own example. When you say, okay, Sajid brother, who is Sajid brother? You are now going to, Sajid brother is working here, is part, but then your Sajid brother's identity to you is based on his life and conduct and choice. Likewise, our children, remember, are trying to figure out who they are by seeing who their parents are, who their Sunday school teacher is, who is their pastor like, who is the ICPF, who is Sibey uncle. They are evaluating all these things and processing and trying to make a definition for themselves as to who they are. And for that, I had a little activity, but I'm not too sure all of you, have access to this, but I will show this to you. I want you to take some time and do this, this activity. You take a printout of this, or maybe you can take this printout of this material that is here and answer to yourself in your private capacity. You don't have to share it with anybody, but you sincerely answer. And I want to quickly go through all these questions here. Right? You have to answer. My daily work mostly involves. What is your work daily involves? Putting things in order, telling people what to do, doing what people tell me to do, thinking things that nobody else has thought before, figuring out what people need, making things run better. What do you do? Answer by yourself. All these questions. I have an interesting question here. If you had won $53,000 in a contest, what would you do? Answer to yourself. After you have completed answering these questions, now try and answer as if you are answering on behalf of your son or daughter. Example, Sajid brother is here. I know Sajid brother, Freddie. Now, Sajid brother, after answering these questions like he did, now he is going to answer as if Freddie is going to answer this question. You do it on his behalf. And trust me, you will see that none of the answers will match actually. But do it. I want you to really do it. This is there. I will send it on the WhatsApp as well. Download it, do it, because this will tell you the solemn difference between how you think and how you probably your children think. And make them also answer this. And then you tally both the answers and you will come to know the differences in the way you perceive things. When I was in Doha and in Kuwait also, when I did my first session, I told you that there is a world that our children belong to. You remember that? There is their world. You have your world. They will never be part of your world. Oh, brother, why are you saying such a very disheartening thing? You may be asking me. But that's a fact. Let me ask this question. Did your parents have a world of their own? Can I get some response? Everybody can unmute and answer. Did your parents have a world of their own? Anybody? No? They have their own world, right? They have their own friends, their own way of doing things. Yeah, Brother Matthew says yes. Right? Second question.
Yeah,
Are you
yes,
part
of course.
that?
Of course, they had a world of their own till they had children.
Exactly, Brother Joyce. They have a world. There is a way that they do things. There are things that they desire, the places that they go. There are people in their world. Question, Brother Joyson, are you part of that world? This question is for everybody. Joyson can also respond. Are you part of their world?
Yes, to an extent.
To an extent. Wonderful. Brother Matthew says no. How many of you say, Brother Sibey, I am fully part of that world? Can I see some hands for some response? Anybody who says that my parents have a world, I am a part of that world. I have no other world but that world, their world. Anybody?
Can I say
Sure.
something?
Yes, Jesse, go ahead.
Yeah, we cannot say that we are full of their part actually, because the thoughts, the way they think is totally different. Even when that exercise right now you have showed that do it for your children, boys and girls actually. Even that also, if we are doing for boys and we are doing for girls, that will be totally different actually, because we live in a society. Society had created the roles and responsibility. Okay, men, women, boys, girls do this and that. From the childhood itself, we are building up a mindset of children that is already captured, and we want them to involve us in their own world. That is, I think so. Somehow, this I love this session actually. So we have to think, and we have to come up with as this is a group of people, how better we can create a society for our own children. If they are creating an environment where if my son is creating something where I stand actually, it's 1%, 2%, 10%, that also I'll do exercise with children from my church. This is good, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. Go ahead and download it. You have many other questions on how you make your choices and decisions. Okay, so thank you so much for your affirmation there. So we all kind of agree that our parents have a world. Some of us are part of that world a little bit. Some of us said we have no part in that world. Nobody said I'm fully part of that world. I mean, that's an interesting key takeaway, and I know for a fact that nobody is part of what their parents' world.
I guess
Now
it's
let's-
difficult to be. It's sorry, just to interrupt, but I think it's quite difficult to be fully part of their world. Because we are living in a very progressive world. So the mentality and the thought process, it's evolving every day. So as you know, the thought process that our parents had back in the days is not the thought process what today's parents have. So we learn things from them. We take that into our lives, and when we become parents we use some of it. But then, as you know, the world evolves, we kind of change our thought process, and then we take things that are better, and then we kind of take the good things from this evolving world, and then we make things better. So then that's what our children then kind of adopts.
Exactly. Good point, Brother Joyson. So the question number two I wanted to ask is, if we are expecting that our children to be part of the world that we have created for ourselves, how realistic is that?
It's wrong. We have
It's
to be
wrong.
part of, yeah, we have to
Yeah.
be part of their world also, because the problem with this generation is we are more into gadgets, more into entertainment. But in the olden days, these things were not there. So parents had more time to spend time with their children one-on-one. So this is my very honest and brutally honest answer, that I have spent most of my time on gadgets, which is so wrong. Rather than when my child calls me to come and play, I get irritated because I'm on my gadget. So that's the brutal truth. This is the problem with all the parents in this generation. Yeah.
I can't agree more, Sister Bethany. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. And I personally also have felt irritated when I am busy on my gadget and my daughter wants to show me a picture that she has drawn, or she wants to ask me about it. And I said, I know, and it's so evident on our face, and they look at it. For one of my birthdays, my younger daughter gave me a card. And you know what was in the card? Papa, I love you. Thank you so much for playing with me.
Oh,
Powerful, isn't it?
yes, of course.
So the fact that we are trying to establish is, we all agree in a way, that there is a world that they are in. We have our own world, our own perspective, our own experiences. Like Brother Joyson said, we learned something from our parents. The world has changed today. We have adapted few things and made our own world. And our children, just like us, also have their own world and probably adapting few things from our world, but they are in their world. Now, they will never be part of our world. But like Sister Bethany said, it is our duty to be part of their world, journey with them. Now, a word of caution. It does not mean that we subscribe to every thought, every whims and fancies, and everything that they will say. No. Like, say yes for everything because we have to be part of the world. No. With respect to doctrines and theological points, we must be solid. No compromise, but flexible with methodologies. Flexible with interaction and building that rapport and relationship. So the key thing I wanted to take away from this part of the discussion, friends, we can only journey with them in their world, right? And in order to do that, we have to change some of our things of how we operate and become more intentional in walking along and establishing a relationship. That's very important. Churches today are in the business of making them do in the way we think it's a right for them. Now, I have to be again cautious. I'm not saying that, throw away. No. I'm talking about flexibility in the way we do things, being rock solid on the core doctrines and the theological concepts. But methodologies have to change. So with that, I'm going to now, introduce a few things again on this platform as the three important qualities to journey with them in their world. I hope you're able to see my screen. Three quintessential things which will help you to journey with them. Without this, no journey possible. This is like taking a ticket to journey with them. Number one, being genuine people. The teenagers have a built-in radar detector. They can tell when you are acting fake and when you actually care. So even if you do all the right things, it won't have an impact on them if they don't sense that genuine desire to know their heart and understand who they are. Let's pause a moment and clarify this. How many of us feel that we do a lot to our children, but they don't reciprocate, they don't understand the amount of sacrifice I'm doing to them or the amount of investment we are doing in their life? They are not able to believe or they are not able to understand or reciprocate. Has anybody faced? I mean, I know this is a very, Brother Ranju is raising his hand. Thank you, Sister Linda. Thank you for being open and vulnerable here. I mean, we all understand, we all face that. One of the primary reasons is that I'm not saying that we are not genuine people, but somehow unintentionally the way we behave, the way we talk gives them an impression that maybe we are not genuine. Or at times, let me also be very brutal, as our sister was saying, sometimes we are fake people. You know, one of the most important cited reasons for people to quit church, does anybody know? This is again from a survey for young people. One of the most cited reasons for young people to leave church.
Dysfunctional home.
Dysfunctional home.
Hypocrisy.
Hypocrisy. Hypocrisy. Correct, Krishna. Thank you, Brother Ranju. You know what? Every camp I go, I catch 5, 6 people, young people, and I ask them this question. Are you excited to go to church? 1 or 2 are actually, but most of them are not really excited. And I ask them for a reason. Why is it? And we are not able to connect. Hypocrisy is the thing. Why? Because what we are saying and what we are doing, they are not able to put it together. So genuineness is an important thing. And that must be done intentionally. How? Through the words and actions that we exhibit in our homes. If you have committed a time for the child and told that, you know, I'm going to do this for you, you better stick with that. We all, I mean, I'm also guilty about that. I promise something, never do. I say I love you. In my initial years as a parent, you know, I told both my children, I love you, I love you, I love you, but never showed up to their parents-teachers meeting because I had other things. So they understood that he loves her, but he loves something else more. Are you with me so far? So the genuineness is an important aspect which is required to journey with. Second one, personal warmth. See, the world that they belong to, you know, it's a competitive world. The class that they belong to, the person who's sitting next to them in the classroom is trying their best to compete against your child. In the neighborhood, maybe in the games that they are playing, or you know, some things that there is always competition. There is always an attempt to bring them down morally, bully them, overpower them, win over them, and really push them to the corner. That's exactly the world is. And when our children come home, our home must be the place that they should realize that they are valuable people. They are valuable individuals. Are you with me so far? Are we making sense? They are not seen as valuable people in the schools, in the neighborhoods. And if they don't feel valuable even in their own homes, that's going to be a disaster. Sister said broken homes, dysfunctional homes. What are dysfunctional homes? We will look at it in the next class. The role of the mother, role of the father, when we don't do it rightly, then it's dysfunctional. We will look at it in the next session. But you see, personal warmth. And that must be, our homes must be a place where we give personal warmth to our children. They must feel valuable. Now, again, the word of caution. I am not saying that we should be unrealistic and say yes for everything, pamper them, give them chocolate, make them do whatever they want, allow them to just to make them valuable. That's the wrong way to make them feel valuable. We are spoiling them. One way of making them feel valuable is to give them the space to voice their opinion about a certain thing. Now, you may think this is a little tricky part. I mean, what are the topics that we must involve our children? I feel in most of the topics which they can manage. Some topics are beyond their age and you don't have to involve them. But let me ask you this question. Does your children have a choice of the clothes they want to wear? Are they already making a choice now? Are they saying, I want to wear this, I will not wear that? Are your children making those choices already now, making those decisions now? If yes, please understand they are already making choices in all other aspects as well. We are thinking that they are only making a choice between this dress or that dress. No. They are already engineered to make those choices. There is a little science behind it because today I'm not too sure about these places, but in some of the international schools, there is something that they teach called the lifeboat ethics. How many of you have heard the lifeboat ethics concept? It's called the lifeboat ethics. Anybody? I'm putting it on the chat for you to. What is lifeboat ethics? The children are taught that your papa and your mummy are in a lifeboat. The lifeboat can only support 2 people. Only 2 people can make the lifeboat. If there are 3 people, it will drown. Whom will you throw out of the lifeboat? Remember these ethics, lifeboat ethics. Now you have to survive. But 3 people cannot survive. You need only 2 people. Whom will you throw? So they're making the choices. They're tuned to make the choice. All right? So why I'm saying this is, now please understand that our children, however small they look and naive and innocent that they look, but a lot of things are happening in their brains. They're making those choices. So in the home, they must be valuable people. And you must involve them. For example, you buying a chair for your living room, involve them, ask them, what kind of chair do you think? You may not have to listen to them, but you give them the space to tell what their preference is. You're painting the wall, ask them, what color do you think? They will come up with some crazy color. But hear them out. You don't have to paint it, but hear them out. In the pursuit of that, we are going to convey a very strong message. What is the strong message? That they are valuable people. They are valuable. And the third one, and quickly, is the empathy part. Seeing the world through their eyes. Putting ourselves in their shoes. Now I will ask this question again. I mean, I've told this my experience in some of the programs. How many of you, when you were a child, your friend told you that you are a boring person? Anybody? When you were a kid, 4th standard, 5th standard, 6th standard, your friend said that you are a one person. But do you know, thank you, Brother Ranju, appreciate it. Do you know that this kind of conversation happens among 3rd and 4th grade students, even 5th grade students, where they are told that you are boring because you don't talk the language because they don't talk the language the people in the world talk. The F word and the B word and the finger, the middle finger. I mean, I'm being very open to you here. Just because they don't do it, our children don't do it. And because they don't do it, they're boring people. Because our children don't wear the dress that the other children wear, our children are boring. So we need to look at the world through their eyes. Thank you, Sister Bethany says she faced it. Absolutely. They call it absolutely. So seeing the world through their eyes, very important. Put yourself in another person's shoes to see the world from their perspective, to imagine what life must be like to be lived in their skin. So it's a difficult exercise, but I want you to think as if you were your daughter or son and you're going to the school where people are going to brand you if you don't behave the way they expect you to be. So 3 things we said. What are the 3 things? Genuineness, personal warmth, making your child valuable, feel valuable. And the third one, being empathetic, trying their way. And if you don't do this, friends, dear parents, you can never walk with them in their world. We can preach, we can scold, we can fight, we can do all, but we cannot walk with them if we don't have these 3 ingredients: genuineness, personal warmth, and empathy. Because every statement that our children are making, don't go behind the words, look for the emotions. What is the emotion in the statement that they are making? What is that they're trying to say? And when you capture that, the children will say, Papa, Mommy, you understand what I'm going through. We don't catch the emotion, we catch the words. For example, of course, they did not study and did very bad in mathematics and they failed. How do you react? I told you 100 times, you didn't study, you got it. Rather, of course, in their mistake, they did not study. Now we want to improve it, and we think that probably scolding, attacking them will do any good. I mean, I don't think it does any good. I mean, it will just simply scare them, and they're going to. Rather, replace the word you to the word we. You didn't fail, we failed. Now, you are not going to figure this out, rather, we are going to figure this out together on how to score well in the next mathematics examination. The moment you use the word, you change the word from you to we, there is some emotions with that. Are you able to understand what I'm trying to convey? We are friends. Thank you. The word you, when it changes to we, there is emotion there. Together. And that's an important step to journey with our children, to make those conversations, to make those relationships meaningful. Let me pause for a moment. Any questions, observations, any thoughts that you would like to share before we just continue for the next 5-10 minutes? Either I have convinced you or confused you. Either one has happened.
Convinced.
Convinced. Okay. Yes, make them more accountable. See, we feel accountable for a thing when we feel that we are supported to it, right? When we, in our offices, when my manager says, you know what, Sibey, let's do it together. We need to get this done. When he says we, I feel accountable. When he said you have to do it, I detest it. I start finding reasons to. I don't feel great. Correct. So we need to make the you to the we, and that brings accountability and and things like that. Okay, in the next few minutes, however, I wanted to do a breakout room, but I think we are a slightly larger thing, and also I think not all of you have access to this. So we are going to do something, but I want you to respond to this questions. Now, these are statements made by children, and I want you to respond. I mean, let's discuss. I mean, what comes? What is the statement? What is the emotion behind it? That's what we are going to do. Okay. Now, this is the statement made by a child. I went to school trying to be somebody I wasn't. It's like, well, where do I put it? I am so confused. I have done that so much that now I don't know who I am. I want to hear from you. I mean, this is a question that you need to answer for yourself. Would your teenager ever say something like this? Think about your child. Will your child ever say something like this? That I am being pushed to be someone whom I am not. I want you to identify the emotions in this statement. What emotions do you see in this statement? Let's do some post-mortem. You see this, but I want you to see some emotions in this sentences. Can I get some response? What's happening? What do you think is happening when a person is making this statement? Now, these are real statements. Yeah. Anybody? Everybody's thinking hard, huh? Oh, okay. Is there anything in the chat? Okay. Okay. Basically, these are statements made by children. A child has made this statement that when I went to school, I'm trying to be somebody I wasn't. It's like, well, where do I fit in? Every day I'm trying to be somebody, and every day I'm faking myself, and now I do not know who I am actually. What is my real identity? So basically, this is, yeah, it could be gender fluidity too. I mean, yeah, the gender identity could be the problem also. But you see, some of our kids are introverts, some of them are extroverts. And it's important for us as a parent to know what our kids are. By nature that they are, either they're talkative or they're not talkative. Either smile comes easily to them or they don't smile at all. So we need to identify who they are and what their real sense is, and then engage in meaningful ways to get the social skills. These are social skills. But the way we react is to spank them, chastise them. It becomes a negative impact where they are saying that I am faking. I mean, the generation today is a very genuine generation that way. If they don't feel like smiling, they don't smile. But you and I were not like that. We smile at people even when we didn't like them, when we didn't like smiling. Because we were brought in the generation of diplomacy, that we should always smile, say thank you, hi, all that. Even we didn't like it. There was no way. But today, the education and the culture, it's so different. So I'm not saying that we should let them be, but rather understand what their social style is and work with them by telling them, giving them the reasons. Hey, it is a good and a pleasant thing to smile at people. Say hi. If somebody comes home, you come out of your room and say hi. They don't feel like doing it probably, but it's a good gesture. Right? Yeah, personality type. So this must be not enforced upon, but discussed upon and things like that. Okay. Second one, quickly, in the interest of time, this is another statement from a child. What I expect out of him or her, that is parent, is to yell at me about something. I guess that's why I don't go to him or her anymore without my problems. Question. How many of you think that your children are not sharing their problems with you? There are parents who say that my son hardly talks to me. Thank you, Brother Ranju. There are parents who say they hardly. Okay, one parent told me I have hardly seen my son lift his head. When we it's like this. When we are praying, it's like this. When he is sitting on the couch, he is like this. No desire to have a conversation at all. But were they like this all their life? No, right? Some of the parents have said, brother, they were not like this. They were very bubbly. He was very bubbly. He used to come and tell me a lot of things. But nowadays he doesn't. One of the reasons could be because of the way we have reacted to whatever they said. Now remember, not everything that they say may be pleasing to our ears. If you have BP, your BP will shoot up. But dear parents, you need extra grace from the Lord to calm down your emotions and listen to whatever nonsense also they're saying. Listen to it. Allow them to make that statement. We need grace. That's why I said I need grace. You need grace. We all need grace. Unless we allow them to, they are testing. I mean, in a way, they're trying. They are also trying to push us and see, right? So unless we have experienced the grace from the Lord to patiently listen to what they're saying, it may be a nonsense that they're saying. That's okay. But we will not yell. I have failed a couple of times. Couple of times I told them I told my daughter I'll break your teeth. Other time I told I'll break your bones. But quickly I had to settle down and say I am sorry for what I said. I am not sorry for my opinion about the situation. What he said is still wrong, but I am sorry for how I reacted. Because that is key to build relationships. So when I react very violently, they don't want to come and have a discussion with us. Who wants to have a discussion with people who blast out? Nobody wants to have a discussion with them. It's the same with our children. But try this, friends. Try this. Even if they are saying something which is painful for you, hear them out. Hear them, listen to them carefully, and then give your 2 cents to it, or maybe your advice to them. They may agree to disagree, but they will still come back the next time to talk to you about a problem or a concern that they have. And that must be done with great patience, is what I would say. All right. So I have a little role play activity that you could do with your family today. I mean, if your parents, let me say this to you. Tomorrow, when your child comes home, ask them this question: how did your school go? Or what happened in the school? And when your son or daughter is explaining, just hear them out without giving any advice, without questioning them, challenging them. Just hear them out. Do this as an exercise. Next time when we meet, you can tell me your experience. How did that go? You are just going to listen to them as to what they are trying to say, and only ask clarifying questions to check, okay, this is what you meant. This is what you said. Okay. Just hear them. No advice. No instruction. You can give it later. If there is something that happened, you wanted to give an instruction, not at that time. Just hear them out. Let them download. Hear them out. And you tell me next week when you come, next time you come, tell me how was your experience. Because I'll tell you for a fact that I've been doing with my children, that, and they feel so excited about to tell me so many other things. The reason why is that they see, okay, this person now, this man is listening to what I'm trying to say. And at one point in time, you will be able to engage them in a meaningful conversation, to bring that change. Brothers and sisters, let me conclude. I will give you a few minutes for questions. Let's remember what Paul says in Romans chapter 12, verses 9. He says, our love must be sincere. Our engagement with others must be honorable. our love to our children must be sincere. There is no doubt. I think all of us are parents. We are very sincere people. We love our children very sincerely. But we must also honor them. Not like taking the honor of God and giving it to them. No, not at all. Honor them, make them feel valuable and important, and hear them out and have a genuine connection. See, one of the key problems that we all face, challenges, is that we are not having dialogues with our children. We are having monologues with our children. Monologues is one directional. Dialogue is two directional. And that will require a lot of grace and a lot of self change in the way we look at things and things. So I want to conclude, and I just want to open it up for some time of questions or some clarification if you have with respect to this process. Or you want to, I would strongly recommend to access that portal and work on it, and then, we will see how we can interact more. I have a question or a comment. I think it's not enough to be sincere discreetly, but make them understand by action that you are sincere. Absolutely. Good, very, very, very important point. Sincerity must be experienced by our children through the words, actions, reiterating it through our body language and through the words and statements that we use. Thank you so much, Brother Ranju, for that comment. Yes. Just opening the floor for some questions or any observations. In the next few minutes, we will close with the word of prayer. Is this format useful? Let me ask this question. Do you think this is good, or should we preach? Okay, we have 2 people supporting us, 3 people supporting. Okay. I'm hoping that there are people behind all this. Huh? Okay. Thank you, Brother Abraham. Thank you, Brother Ranjan. So, friends, as you can imagine, this is, we have to work together. Okay. Please bring in your situations. Let's learn from each other. We have a lot of limitations doing it on the Zoom platform, but then let's make it useful, very interactive, bring in ideas and thoughts so that we could discuss, go through the material that we are giving you on the Connect, and let's use this opportunity to build each other, because we want to raise a generation for the kingdom of God. Okay, with that, I will turn the time to Brother Saji. If there are no other questions, I will turn the time back to Brother Abraham.
I have a question, Brother Sibey Matthew. I have a question.
Yes,
Yes. Today you covered the 3 points: actually, genuineness, warmth, and personal warmth and empathy. Why always, even all the society, when the Christian society also expecting mothers or the women to give more time with the children, even when it comes to play or even anything? Why that mentality has built up actually? How to change that mentality? Both father and mother play the same role, but the expectation is very high from mothers. Why? Even the Christian society, are the sisters, those who are sitting here, the role they play, multiple role they play. I think so. Many of them are working actually. So this is my question to you. Even the picture you have put, genuine warmth, you put the mother's hand in the child. Okay. So
good observation. I didn't notice that. Well, I will change that. It's a good one. But I like the mother and the daughter there. But it's a good question, Jesse. Actually, it is biblical to know that the father has a very important role to play. Read Deuteronomy chapter 6. The instructions given is given to the father to walk, to talk, to explain, to invest.
yes, I agree that. But yeah, I agree. But the expectation from the society always from the mothers actually, and the environment that we are creating, that environment that we are creating, somehow there is a gender discriminative society actually, even in Christian and even in so-called what we say Pentecostal families also. Okay, so that we have to think. I hope in the next meeting you will mix up that things.
Absolutely, sister. Yes. So you see, families are a nurturing entity. And a family can be a nurturing entity only when we have a full-time father and a full-time mom. In most of our families, we have a full-time mom and a part-time father. It's unfortunate. It is biblical to say that the father has a lot more to do, and it is biblical. So we have what we see is maybe cultural. I agree with you, Mr. Jesse. It's very cultural that dump everything on the mother. It's so wrong. Father brings the stability to home. Mother binds together and keeps the family knit. So as they say, father puts the boundaries, the pegs. He decides the boundary condition for the family. The mother ties those pegs with the rope of love and affection. Thereby, you have a secure place within which the children are nurtured. And I agree with you. In some families, there is an absent father. There are no pegs. So what will the mother do with the rope? And in some families, the father is there. He has put the peg, but the mother is not there to tie it up. So anybody can come, anybody can go. Right? So we will look at it in our next session, the role of the father and the role of the mother. And it's a very important point. Remember, many of our children, they, I mean, like one of our sisters said about dysfunctional homes, and that's so true. Many of young people, young boys especially, when I talk to them, they don't believe in God. And when I inquire further, they come from families where their mother and father, they don't love each other. Or the father is an abusive father. Right? And some of you are making very good point. Yes, the father and mother must be very close. The children must see that. They should not come between the father and the mother. We will talk about it next session. You know, the boundaries that you need to make it clear. You know, the children are very manipulative. They'll come in between. They get the mother against the father or the father against the mother. No, father and mother are together, and then they are sure about that. And it took me some time to get adjusted it, because half of the things that my wife said, I could not agree. And our children realized that. But then I realized, no, I need to be with my wife on certain things. And my wife realized that she has to be with me on certain things. As for a wife, husband comes first. Of course, God is there. I'm not bringing now. God is the first. He is the center of all. But for the wife, the husband is first, and for the husband, wife is first. Then come the children, and that must be very, very evident, articulated, emphasized with clear instructions, clear display of actions and character. Is that okay, Sister Jessie? We will come back to that topic in a more detailed way next session. Thank you for that observation. I will change the picture, by the way. Good point, good observation. Yeah. Anybody else? Boys always observe and learn from the father. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Some mothers bond with children and do not bond with husbands. Absolutely true. I mean, these are recipes for disaster. They have sub teams within the team. No. There is no sub team. There is only one team. Right? And we will look at it. We'll look at it next session about how the father and the husband and the wife have to be the moral standards of love and other things. We will look at it next week. Yeah. Any other? Okay, it's already 11:31. Any last chance? Anybody else wanted to say something or question before we hand it over to Sachi? Okay, doesn't seem to be the case. Sachi brother or Ibrahim brother, go ahead.